Hi, it's John Williams here. So I want to show you today how we collect data from sensors in a web server. And so for example, here I'm showing a temperature sensor. We may have a camera or some other device here, and I'm showing a smartphone. And all of these can communicate by HTTP with a web server. And that web server can store the data. It could store it locally, or it could, as I'm showing here, push it on to a data server and a database. Here today, we're just going to put up a web server, an Express web server, to collect that data. So what the web server is going to do is when we hit the web server, it's going to return to us a page. And that page is actually going to be basically just, let me click on here. It's just going to be a pacman. But the way it works is, for example, that we're going to issue a get command, and that's going to get us a web page. Now, we don't need to know the details of this, but in this case, let's show you here what we're doing. We're going to just hit the web server, and here we've got, let's see, we've got, this is the page that's going to be returned. So what's going to happen is that this page allows you to generate data by clicking on pacman, and the position of pacman is going to be sent using this URL. It's going to actually tag on to the get command. It's going to set the X equals, you can just see it here, the position of pacman. And so when you do a fetch, it's actually going to push the data to the web server. So we're going to contact the web server and say, hey, set the X value, and then the web server is going to do that. Let's take a look at the code that's going to do that. So we're going to, here, this is the Express web server. You can see that we've got, we're loading Express. Now the important thing to understand are these routes. And here we've got a get, and when we receive a get command that has set in it, then this function is going to be fired. And what we're going to do is we're just going to push the data in the request.query.x into this array called data. So we're going to store the data on the web server basically. Now, of course, if we take the web server down, it's going to disappear. But like I showed you at the beginning, we could pass it on to a permanent data store. Okay, so let's go take a look now at, here's our code that, let me get rid of this. You can see pacman is running, or rather the server is running on port 3000 on my machine. So let's hit port 3000. So when we hit it, we're going to get this. Now let's have a look. I want to show you, if I can, what happens when I hit pacman. So here we go. Let me hit pacman. You see, X equals 20 is recorded. I'll hit pacman again, X equals 40. And so we can store this. Also, if I do a /get, that data, I can now, my web page is going to go to the server and ask for all the data it's got. So here it is. It returns to us. This is the data in the web server on the left here, and here we're getting it back. So just with these simple programs, we can collect data, push it to the web server, store it there, and at any time and in any other web browser. So this browser, you could load your browser up and hit this URL and get this data. Okay, that's all for now.